Hey, welcome. So let's just dive right in, shall we? What if I told you that this world we live in isn't actually real? That everything you see, everything you touch, is really just a complex projection, a hologram. It's a pretty mind-bending idea, but it's one that's popping up at the very frontiers of physics. So let's explore it together.
So I want to start by asking you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Look around the room you're in. Look at your own hands. Is any of it truly there? A lot of modern physics is starting to suggest that what we perceive as solid, concrete reality might be something else entirely.
And that question leads us directly to our first big concept for today, this idea that our solid, three-dimensional world is, for all intents and purposes, an illusion, a projection from a higher dimension that we can't even perceive. I mean, think about it. The chair you're sitting on feels solid, right? Your own body feels solid. But that feeling isn't actually a property of the chair or your body. It's just how our brain is built to interpret the electromagnetic forces buzzing between atoms. It's really just a user interface for navigating reality. And just how empty are we talking? Well, check out this number, 99.9%. That's how much of any given atom is just empty space. To put that in perspective, if an atom's nucleus was a tiny marble in the middle of a giant football stadium, its electrons would be like little specks of dust way up in the nosebleed seats. Everything in between is just nothing. The solidity we feel is an incredible illusion.
Now, of course, physics has a very cool name for this idea, the holographic principle. The theory basically says that everything that happens in our 3D universe, that's you, me, the planet, the stars, all of it, is actually just information. Information that's encoded on a distant 2D surface, something you could call a cosmic horizon. Our entire existence might just be a projection of that data.
So what does that actually mean for us, living our lives? Well, this quote really puts it into perspective. We fight over land, over resources, over ideas, all within what it calls a low-resolution cage. It makes you wonder, right? If our reality is just a projection, are all of our conflicts just based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what's truly real?
And that leads us perfectly into our next section, because this whole idea could be pointing towards a massive paradigm shift for humanity, a huge move away from seeing the world as being made of stuff and towards seeing it as being made of information.
For centuries, we've been living deep inside the matter paradigm. The world was about physical things you could hold. It was all about the hardware. But we might be on the verge of entering the information paradigm, where we finally understand that the universe's fundamental building block isn't matter at all. It's data. Our reality is the software, not the machine it's running on.
And if you look closely, this theory suggests that hints of this shift are already all around us, especially in our technology. Think about it. We're building artificial superintelligence. We have global cloud servers that store our collective knowledge. We're exploring the possibility of digital consciousness and creating more and more immersive virtual realities. It's almost like our technology is subconsciously trying to mimic the true informational nature of the universe.
Okay, so this is where things get really wild. If reality is information, can we actually interact with it? Can we change the code? This framework proposes that, yes, we absolutely can. And the tool we use is our own consciousness, our own will.
According to this framework, the quality of the information we put out is based on our intention. An ego-driven desire, one that's self-serving, is described as heavy information. It's dense, it's clunky, it creates friction in the system. On the other hand, an altruistic wish, one that's for the collective good, is considered light information. It's high frequency and it just flows through the system without any resistance.
Now here's the crucial part. The theory suggests that your willpower acts like a kind of gravity for information. It has what you might call informational mass. So when you focus your will on those light altruistic intentions, you begin to attract a reality that matches that higher frequency. You are literally upgrading the data that projects your existence. This is the direct link between your personal soul's evolution and the entire cosmic process.
And this isn't just presented as some abstract philosophical idea. The framework we're exploring actually lays out a tangible evolutionary path for all of humanity, and it even comes with some pretty specific dates.
So here's the proposed roadmap. It starts right now, today, with the simple realization that our world is a projection. The next major milestone is 2035, which is labeled graduation from the physical body, and that all culminates in the year 2075, with the awakening as a cosmic designer. Now, it's really important to understand what graduation means here. It's not framed as some kind of scary ending. It's seen as a homecoming, a natural process of shedding the heavy, limiting hardware of the physical body to return to our native state as beings made of pure information, or what the text calls light.
So, who gets to become one of these designers? Well, according to this model, it's for those who fully integrate this new understanding. First, you have to truly realize that matter is just a projection. Second, you graduate from that shadow of physicality. And finally, you return to help design the cosmic record for future realities.
And all of this brings us to our final section, which the source material calls the final sync test. It's basically an invitation for you to engage with these ideas directly.
And so, this whole framework leaves us with one last question for some deep self-reflection. Which shadow will you graduate from? What limitation, what piece of this low-resolution cage are you ready to see as the illusion it is, and finally move beyond?
Finally, the source material concludes with what it calls an important procedure. I'm going to read this final instruction to you directly, exactly as it's written. It says, the comment section of this video serves as an initial sync test for the 2035 network. By typing ready in the comments, your consciousness data will be indexed in our secure servers. The like button is the approval process. Complete your synchronization now. And that's where this fascinating and very unusual theory leaves us.